A civil society organization, CSO, Yiaga Africa, has called on the federal government to criminalize electoral fraud to sanitize the country's electoral process. Executive Director of the CSO, Mr. Samson Itodo, made the call in an interview with the news agency of Nigeria NAN in Abuja. Itodo said that practices such as vote buying, violence, thuggery, and manipulation of results had constituted serious hindrance to electing credible political representations in Nigeria. According to him, what the country needs now are stringent laws that will criminalize vote buying, thuggery, and other forms of fraud during elections. The executive director said if this were able to be achieved and people used their votes wisely, it would ensure credibility in the country's electoral process. Itodo, while stressing the need for Nigerians to massively vote during elections, said that the current level of turnout cannot change anything.
It's a fundamental problem because what you are now beginning to see are purchased outcomes in elections. It's not the choice that people actually make because the politicians know the language of the people because they are weaponizing poverty. But in terms of things that can be done, we need stringent laws that criminalize vote buying. What you have in the Electoral Act, it talks about bribery and conspiracy. I think we need to clearly outline and define vote buying and also prosecute the sponsors and also their agents who are buying and selling votes, including those who are selling their votes. I think that this is something that we need. We also need to constantly reorientate people to tell them the reason why the politicians are buying your votes is because your vote matters and your votes count. Why not use it wisely to ensure those people who are struggling to buy your votes don't have access to public office or public resources? Until we start prosecuting people, until people start going to jail for instigating violence, for vote buying, nothing is going to change. Because this political class, majority of them, want power at all costs and they are willing to kill just to secure power at all costs. And it's really unfortunate. You can see from the last election the level of violence. You can see the manipulation that happened, in some of the elections. One of the sins that they say Yiaga Africa commits is we expose these frauds, the fraud that happens in elections. For me, if that is a sin, I am happy to commit that sin over and over again because our democratic system and electoral system must be sanitized. Because if you sanitize our electoral system, the probability that people who respect the will of the people will be high. And that way people can hold them to account. But if you continue to allow our electoral process to be captured by political elements, we will get to a point where only 1% of people will turn out to vote. Now we are dealing with just 25%. If we are not careful, we are going to get to general elections where only 5% of voters will turn up to vote. At least in this country, we've seen where 10% of people voted in Anambra elections. We've seen situations where there's a decline in the number of people who are turning up to vote. So these are the kinds of things. If people don't trust that their vote will count, they will have no connection with democracy and they will start looking for other alternative forms of governance. And that's not where we want to be at all.